What's up, everybody? This is Enlightened Masculinity podcast streaming to IMC TV right now. It's the YouTube channel and soon to be Instagram, TikTok channels. And this is a show. It's on Apple, Spotify, all those great places. So, follow, leave a review if you like it, and, subscribe to the show, all that. I'm Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation, right there, here at IMC Base 1, where I live with the founder of IMC Nation, Arash Sapar. And this episode, I'm talking about certainty and enthusiasm, and especially with regard to IMC. And I invite any questions or participation because that'll really, stimulate good thoughts, good words. So if, one of the things I've recommended that I don't push really, but if you want to get good at sales, or if you want to understand sales, it's not like I'm a scholar of sales and I've read everything there is to about sales, but it's like when you find the right way, you don't need to study so much. And how do you know it's the right way? Because of the success, the proof, how you understand, how understandable it is. And Jordan Belfort and the Way of the Wolf that is the algorithm. That is the equation for selling. And so much of his, and of course, selling, I mean, that's like he says, and everybody says, anybody who has anything to say about sales will say that selling or sales as a concept makes people tense. They get tight around it. They don't want to sell. They don't want to think like they're selling somebody, and they don't want to be sold. They don't want people around them knowing sales and that they're going to be sold on things. And maybe in the beginning, or maybe at a primitive level, it is like manipulative or disgenuine, pushy. It could be all sorts of things, violating, But at a higher level, at a more enlightened level, selling is the art of communicating. It's just the science of communication and how, because when we're communicating, we're already selling. That's what it is. You're selling your ideas to somebody. You got something to say, you're selling them on why they should pay attention. Pay attention to what I'm about to say. And a lot of people, let's say if you have friends, your friends, you already have so much rapport and trust with them that they're just going to listen to you. But at first, you'd have to get a stranger to listen to you. And in the beginning, you can't come at them with like your most advanced or high level thoughts or your deepest thoughts or most intimate, personal, vulnerable thoughts. Like this, it might work occasionally, but that's not really a good strategy for interacting with new people. Like you got to start off slow and then ease them down the straight line of what you're trying to get to. And most people in casual conversations, it's just like all over the place. They don't really have a direction they're going in versus like a lecture, a podcast, a sale. Like if you go to a car dealership, they're not trying to, be best friends with you. Now, a good salesman will have a lot of qualities that if you're a high level person, you'd want to be friends with them. Why wouldn't you want to be friends with a high level person? And so in Jordan's method, so much of what I remember, I read the book 3 times. I haven't gone through his audio system. I've watched some of his YouTubes, but I really studied that book. And like a lot of what I have found, a lot of very good authors, maybe they're prolific, they have a lot of material. One of their books is enough to really just, it's so thorough and elaborate that you could really just re-examine that book over and over, and you're going to get a lot of their system. They write these other books because they have the communication to come out, and maybe it gives slightly different perspectives or angles on the same topic. This is what I found with H.T. Odom, where I did my PhD, with Jordan Belfort, with even AZD. I study so much of AZD's lectures and stuff, but really so much is just in one lecture. I mean, if you really got it, like that's the beingness is right there. And so with the straight line sales system of Jordan Belfort, it's so much a transfer of certainty that you have certainty about this thing. That's why you really got to believe in your product. And, in relationships, you believe in yourself. You're selling yourself. Or, there's aspects to that, like you're selling a future with you. A lifestyle with you. That's not necessarily you, but it's what you have created and what is being promised to the other person if they align with you. So it's a transfer of certainty. It can come across pretty dry, like you're going to make a girl certain, or you're going to make a client. I mean, it makes more sense in a client sense, but like you wouldn't want a girl being uncertain about being with you. That's just not going to be a stable relationship. You don't need it to be. You don't need a relationship. But if you want her to be fully compliant and obedient and follow your guidance and listen well and align well with your life, so it's not adding friction to your existence and making unnecessary dissipation of energy to handle her drama or her disagreements and arguments or whatever, then there needs to be certainty transferred. And you may be certain about it and they may not. And that may be because of differences in beliefs or whatever, which is the art of communication and selling. You start to ascertain their values and where they have disagreements or whatever. Or it may be that your skill of communication, you haven't gotten it across. So you have all this certainty, but haven't got, like, I could be really good at wrestling, or I'll use jujitsu as an analogy now. I could be really good at jujitsu and I'm trying to teach it and the other person's just not getting it. And it doesn't matter how good I am. They're not going to get it just because I'm good. I have to transfer it. And in summary, I mean, I think I've talked about it on this podcast before. In summary, they need certainty about you or the salesman, basically. So in like a relationship, it would be you, your personality. They need certainty about three things: you, the company being like IMC Nation would be the company, where we have all these bases and they're sprouting up and people keep leveling up, and we have all these testimonies that are giving you certainty about the company. And the testimonies also give you certainty about the product. So there's the salesman, the product, and the company. And in a relationship, that's going to be the person, the lifestyle, and whatever the service in that is going to be, like her reputation and like how she feels being with you. Like she actually likes you, like she likes the relationship. So it's the relationship, it's the future, the survival, and then you as a person. And certainty needs to be had on all three of those. At 10, if possible, 10 out of 10 certainty. Some people have different thresholds, so maybe a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. 2 out of 10, but some degree of certainty, whatever. And then unique to that individual, how much certainty do they need? And that's not necessarily a static thing. That could change through time. It could change day to day. That's the fucking complication of being with a woman. She changes day to day, especially twice a month. Changes drastically. And so she'll be certain about you during one time of the month, and another time of the month she'll be uncertain. That's called ovulation, actually. And period. Both of those, the menstruation and the ovulation, she changes. Occasionally she doesn't. It's not like every time, but look out. Pay attention. You can, as if you're with multiple women or you're really examining this thing, you start to notice, when are they ovulating? When are they menstruating? They don't even have to tell you. I let them tell me, but I already know by how you're acting. And they may not know because they're with themselves all the time. So they're just along for the ride, but I'm off the roller coaster looking from the side, and I'm like, you're going up, you're going down, you're going up, you're going down. And, so certainty with the company. What was I saying? Oh yeah. And then there's also going to be the pain and pleasure thresholds. So they need to be certain of the salesman, the service, and the company. But then how much are they suffering really with their problem? And especially, how much will they continue to suffer if they don't solve this problem? Like the guys that are in Vegas and they're selling like the pickup camps. Okay, certainty that this is the right way to do it. That's the service. Certainty, or the product. That's the product service. Certainty that you can show it to them. That's, honestly, the system of pickup would be the company. IMC and the system of pickup would be the company. It's still IMC, but also the system of the philosophy, the school of philosophy. That's like the company in this example. So they should become certain that mystery method and the IMC method is the way to go when it comes to getting women. Then they also need certainty in the service, which is you or Eros or whoever the coach is. Those are the people to show you pickup. Why? Because XYZ. And they need certainty. They got to get it. And then certainty in the salesman that you're telling them the truth about these things. Then they need also pain and pleasure. So what is the pain if they don't solve this thing with knowing how to talk to women, how to approach women, how to socially interact in venues with lots of people, anything that's related to, so much of pickup is related to lifestyle. Like you just need to be well-groomed and have good fashion. Well, that's good in life also. But then we see that life is game. Game is life. You don't need to go to Vegas necessarily or anywhere. You don't need to go somewhere outside of your town to pick up women. You just need to optimize for your environment, and there's probably women there, unless you're at like some oil rig in the middle of Texas, then you probably got to go somewhere to get women. But your town, your city, it's there. So, those skills. But what is the pain of not solving it? Fast forward another year, 2 years, 5 years, keep working on your business, guy. Don't worry about getting women. Just stack your money and then worry about getting women. What's the pain of that? And there's a truth to the outcome of that. Like it's really not going to happen like guys plan. They think 5 years I'll make money and then I'll get to it. And in 5 years, you're going to have more problems and you're going to settle for whatever woman gives you a vagina because you're going to be so starved for it. And you haven't educated yourself on the truth about masculinity, femininity, monogamy, and all that stuff. And you've just been a victim of the news. Like you haven't been practicing and studying. So you're conditioning. And at some point you hit 30, you hit 35, and it's like, man, it's really hard to learn anew how to socially interact and how to talk to, because a 35-year-old man still wants an 18 to 23-year-old woman. That was the joke at the Jiu-Jitsu Academy. The one guy from Britain is like, my ideal age is like 28 to 32. And I was like 18 to 23. I just kind of cut him off. And then him and the jiu-jitsu coach, who's like 50 years old and married and whatever. And they're both, like they're laughing, like the truth of it. Like, what do you think? Because I'm getting older that I'm supposed to like older women? I like maturity, but in certain aspects, like not, and we would probably need to like kind of define that, but definitely an ability to communicate. Yes. But a youthfulness also, yes. Youthfulness and ability to communicate. So why do they have to be at odds with each other? Because she's so miseducated. But so is the older woman is miseducated. She's almost more difficult to be with because she's more certain of her way of communicating, which has delivered to her life that she has, that she meets you with. At least the younger girl is more able to change. And there's so many biological, you just fucking read the books. You think you know, you don't know until you read the books. The scholars that have dedicated years, decades to studying and putting it out in a way that you can understand, that condenses the information. It's like a whole thick book about evolutionary psychology. Yeah, there's a dozen of them. And there's some repeats, there's some cross references where they reference each other, but totally different authors. They paint you a dry picture of men and women and how they mate. Then you bring in seduction and the pickup arts, and it gives you this artistic perspective of how to mate. But if you have science with it and the artistry, now you're a lethal man and you're cut above the rest. Even if you got money problems, you got family problems, you got this and that, and all of those basic problems, you are seeing through this illusion, this veil of how men and women are interacting. Like they're so peaceful and equal and no agenda. Like, man, you're missing it. And that's why there's a lack of satisfaction and certainty about your own life. So a woman that gets with you, a man that's privy to this information, she's going to gain a lot more certainty about, why her communications have gone a certain way, how to better handle communications, friendships, guys and girls at the workplace, family relations. She gains a lot of certainty, and that's going to bring a lot of contentment. It'll bring a lot of heartache too, or headaches, really, not even heartache, a little bit of both probably, because just because that person's no good for you, separating from them or cutting ties doesn't always just like feel great. You'll feel like a load has been lifted off your shoulders, but you also feel a little emptiness, like, I kind of miss the good times or whatever. Well, you just need to replace those with better times. So you need certainty about the individual, the service. You need certainty about the salesman, about you as a salesman, certainty about the service, the relationship, the lifestyle, whatever, and certainty about the company, like the future is going to be safe and this thing is an up climbing stock and the future is going to be better. I'm not buying into a dying proposition. And then the pain of not solving that. So the woman, what's the pain of you being single? That's the thing about an 18 to 23-year-old girl. She doesn't feel the pain of being single that bad. She has a bright future ahead of her where thousands of men are going to at least approach her. And then, it's her choice what she does with those. She may not even realize it's her choice. She's just a victim of her own upbringing and communication habits and whatever. But later on, later 20s, early 30s, and later, the woman is starting to feel the pain of, she may not realize what this pain is coming from. She may think that I just need a good man or there's no good man or whatever. And it's like the way you communicate, the way you portray yourself, the beliefs that you talk about, how you present yourself physically has gotten you where you're at. And unless you're going to go out like a man and hunt down a mate and basically strategically seduce them, you're probably not doing that as a woman. So you're probably just going out and displaying yourself and waiting to be approached. You may not think that you're trying to be approached today or yesterday, but that's been your strategy in life. You haven't thought, I'm going to go and find a good man. You've thought, I'm going to go put myself out there and a man's going to find me. And so that's so yin. Oh, okay, that's yin. But what are the locations you chose? What are the wardrobe you wear? How did you present yourself? How did you like, you're still doing that. You have that active role. And so she'll later start to feel the pang of this emptiness. And what happens? That's something, it's not something that you pick up the girl with. It can be, it depends how lighthearted you are. It's not necessarily even a seductive thing. It can be. It's seductive that you know. It's seductive that you know the truth about men and women. It's seductive that you understand what she's going through when she doesn't even understand what she's going through. But just red pilling her on the facts that a woman after menopause, no men, blah, 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 is not going to seduce her. The seductive aspects of that are your awareness of this game of life. And it can be more seductive if you compassionately, empathetically, sympathetically communicate this certainty to her. So that because that's the whole point of the game. The game is not about do the cube, do this opener, neg her this way. The game is about, here are some things to communicate. Now take your time, because she doesn't care about the words you're saying. It's buying you time to transfer your personality to her, to upload your personality to her. That's what all the gambits are. I just realized that gambit and game have the same root, GAM. So it's what all of the stories, and even if you're red pilling her on the truth about psychology, whatever, which isn't necessary, that's not part of the straight line. That's probably part of the straight line of relationships. It's going to be very difficult for her to be with you long term if she doesn't get these truths about men and women. It's not difficult for her to get with you short term without knowing these things. You just need to demonstrate these things. But later on, she needs to know these things, because she's going to be in a relationship with you. She must conduct herself properly when she's not around you, and she's only going to be around you for a small sliver of the week or whatever. And so how to conduct herself so that it doesn't create more problems for you, because it'll create problems for you if so many men are approaching her, or if she doesn't know how to interact with men or women at her workplace, or explain away her relationship to her family, people that she can't just really cut off unless they were really evil to her. All sorts of things, how to interact with other women you may be talking to if that ever happens. Like, she needs to understand the philosophy beyond just you attracting and picking her up and whatever. And so it can be seductive if in the explanation of the red pill, you are demonstrating great personality qualities and showing sympathy and empathy for her condition and situation, like savvy, you're sensitive and considerate of her. That's where it can be seductive. The wisdom can be seductive. Otherwise, she would just read the books herself and get the wisdom. But she's not going to do that. She doesn't give a fuck about the wisdom. She gives a fuck about it when she's with you, because you have so much value that to be with you, she needs to give a fuck about it. And that's what it comes down to. If she doesn't give a fuck about it, then you don't need to be with her. You're an upward climbing stock. I don't care if you're 50 years old as a man. If you're not, you'll know. Are you either going down or going up? And if you're going down, you've lost ambition. And if you haven't lost ambition, then you're still going up, because she lost ambition a long time ago. And she lost her looks a long time at 50. You know what I'm saying? She's just going down. Like, the only thing that will save her will be the right behaviors and ideas and ways of thinking about life that would make her into a good role model for younger women. That's her value as an older woman, is being a role model to younger women, because evolution has condensed her birth-giving period into a quarter of her life or whatever, or less than a quarter of her life, let's say. But the birth-giving ability of the man is much longer, at least 50% of his life. She's healthy. We're talking about healthy people. And why is that? Because nature wanted the younger girl to get with the older man. Because he was better at survival. Because you accumulate resources and reputation and connections and social status. So you're better able to protect for young, to provide for young. You have better wisdom to transfer to the young. And she, at younger, is better able to give birth to healthy babies. And to multiple healthy babies. She has years ahead of her. And that's not necessarily what we're playing in the modern game between men and women. A lot of guys aren't ready or don't want kids. Some girls, I mean, girls want kids because it gives them security in life, but they want kids from, they also want the unconditional love of a child, which is pretty selfish. But that's, they want purpose. They want to be needed in varying degrees. So what am I talking about here? Somehow I got into relationships. The straight line, certainty. They need to feel the pain of if they don't solve this aspect of their life. And they need to feel the pleasure of what's it going to be like if you did solve it. So I'll be like asking a girl, what's your ideal relationship? Now she's going to BS. She doesn't know because she hasn't had an ideal relationship. So how'd she fucking know? But you still start to get some ideas in the direction of it. There's the pleasure. Well, what happens if that never happens? There's the pain. Well, okay, you're the salesman, so she just needs to like and trust you. So you're just being an authority, you're being enthusiastic, not being callous, not being abrasive, you're listening well, but you're a good salesman. Like you listen well and you're a good communicator. She trusts you. Not you as the seducer, you as the salesman of these ideas. Then you as the seducer, you as the relationship prospect is the service. You are the product and service. A relationship with you is both sexually, intimately, in all aspects. The relationship with you, is she attracted to you? Is she comfortable with you? That's the service or product. And then the company, what's the lifestyle? What's the future? Part of the company could include your tribe, your gang, your friends. That's part of your future also. So, with IMC, it's kind of like, in martial arts, there's a lot of fancy kinds of martial arts, and they look impressive. Kicks, fast movements, flexibility, agility, all these things. And when they mix them all together in this mixed martial arts, and just because you do mixed martial arts, let's say I was a wrestler and I go into a mixed martial arts thing, I still don't know how to punch and kick. Just because I'm allowed to doesn't mean I know how. I mean, I know how to do that and like kick, but like it's going to be so off technique and off balance. And like, I haven't designed my structure and my muscle habit and everything to land a strong blow. So you mix all these martial artists together and I'm just going to try to take the guy down or throw him or something. Meanwhile, somebody that did like Kung Fu or something, they're looking to do these like strikes. But once I get in on them, I'm in under them, I'm lifting them, or I'm like behind them or something. Do they know what to do? They may have some techniques, just like I have some techniques for punching and elbowing and whatever, but it's not going to be on the same level. And same thing if you get like, a Taekwondo or a Tai Chi guy or something against a Jiu-Jitsu guy, or a Muay Thai against a boxer. Like he doesn't know how to kick, but he's better at boxing than a Muay Thai person, but the Muay Thai person is going to kick. So when you mix all of these combat arts together, just because you're mixed together, I don't know how to do Kung Fu just because I'm fighting a Kung Fu guy. I'd have to fight the Kung Fu guy like a wrestler. So when you mix them all together, you have to kind of rely on your skill set. And what we found was that Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the best. Brazilian jiu-jitsu beats all of them on average, right? If you box and you punch me in the face and I get knocked out, you win. But if you don't knock me out and I get in on you and I know jiu-jitsu and you don't, I'm going to win. Unless you somehow sneak in like some punch that knocks me out. But as long as I can take a hit, and if it's not a square hit on the jaw, like, and I'm prepared for it, like I see the fist coming and it's hard to knock somebody out if they see it coming. And you're of similar size. It's not like a fucking rhinoceros hitting an ant. So we find that Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the best. Muay Thai or kickboxing, probably Muay Thai, is second best. And if you combine Muay Thai with jiu-jitsu, you're very, very lethal. Because you got the striking and the stand-up, and you got the ground and pound and all the jiu-jitsu submissions, taps, chokes, all those things. But we wouldn't know that until we mix them all together. Apart, keep them separate, don't let them fight each other. And Taekwondo thinks they're the best, and Krav Maga thinks they're the best, and everybody thinks they're the best. Because if they didn't, why wouldn't they would go to the one they think is the best? If they're drawn to the martial arts and fighting and combat and survival and that stuff. So this is what we find with game also. In game, people's game strategies, every guy out there thinks that he's got the game. I swear to God, I'm messaging all these people on one of our business accounts, all these guys, and it's like 1 in 20 want to learn. 19 and 20 think they know. They're like, yeah, I've had plenty. It's so common. It's basic. They don't realize it because they're not talking to other guys about it. I've long since known it, but now I'm reminding myself as I go through these communications that, man, guys really have a lot of ego around thinking that they know how to do this thing. Me too. I get it. It's difficult to accept corrections about your relationships or your pickup sometimes, especially from people that you don't think of as authority. But that's what it's just going to take. Like, let's get in the ring. Let's go out in field. Let's see how we do. Let's navigate life and see what kind of relationships you manifest. That's your game. And if we're talking to the same girls or going to the same venues, then we'll really be able to see, like the jiu-jitsu guy versus the Krav Maga guy. We'll really see. Now, sometimes you may win. Like, the boxer may knock out the jiu-jitsu guy. Sometimes we go into a venue and that chick is just really attracted to black guys and your friend's a black guy. Or that chick really likes beards. Or that chick really wants a DJ. She's so into rave music and like just tripping out and do it. Like once she knows that about you, who knows? That's the girl that's already selected you before she even met you. Anybody that fit your archetype, she would have gone with. That's not really game. I mean, it is because you obviously put together your archetype, but that's unconscious game. That's just by default. And guys want to think that by default they're doing really good with women. They're lying. They're lying to themselves. I get it. I got to build more trust and allow them to be more open about it, transfer the certainty. And the certainty is that this game is real strong, that our ways of communicating are real strong. We penetrate through what the words you're saying to hear what you really mean. We're communicating with understanding of intention and how our vocabulary and intonation, our tonality, is going to influence your mind. And we have a lot of existential and esoteric information about the timeline here. How long do we have to do this thing? My seduction and my sale is infinite time. It's from now until forever. And it's in your interest that it's sooner, because I know this, because the IMC method works. It's demonstratable. The proof is in the pudding. Success is the proof. I live a very good life. A life where I look forward to waking up at 5:45 a.m. I look forward to my cold shower. I look forward to what I read. I look forward to what I watch. I look forward to how I make my money. I look forward to my hangouts with women. And if I don't, then I don't hang out with them. Because I have that standard elsewhere in my life also. I'm not doing things that I don't like. And sometimes, like I was telling the guys the other day, I had to do something with my taxes. And I was like, I don't want to do this thing with my taxes. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell myself, I want to do this thing with my taxes. And I'm going to make myself want to do this thing with my taxes. You can do that sometimes. Now, that's difficult if your whole life is that. And your whole life, you're convinced yourself, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. And you never really have anything you want to do. Okay, well, everybody has a starting place. And so maybe you have a job or some responsibilities that you don't like. But that's why it's so important to have a lockdown. Because in lockdown, you do what you want. And when you really point your attention at, you want this lifestyle, you want success with this lifestyle, then you won't have too much difficulty switching around your activities in lockdown so that they're not just enjoyable, but they contribute to your character development. The things we study, when I study cosmic disclosure, it contributes to my character development because it frees me of my personality. It frees me of this small 1 in 10 billion sliver of humanity that I have come to know as me. So narrow. No, man, there's a lot of alternative possibilities. And some of those memories you have, Yogi Chris, some of those memories you have, some of those dreams you have, where do you think they come from? Is it just random amalgamation that your mind is putting together from unprocessed thoughts and feelings and experiences throughout the day? Or is there something from the past? Or is there something you've experienced but don't remember? It's a little disturbing, but that's what the red pill is. The alien agenda is a little disturbing. The red pill about government is pretty fucking disturbing. The red pill about the elites, about Hollywood, about Disney, is pretty fucking disturbing. People, you will feel duped, and people hate to feel wrong. Like to feel right. That's why they convince themselves they like to feel wrong, because by being wrong, they're showing more what's right. They really like to be right. They hate to be wrong. And especially they don't want to be right if it goes against other beliefs they have. It's very complicated about the world. There's so many beliefs that we have about all of these different institutions and the way that humanity is, that if you red pill about one subject, it's probably going to contradict some beliefs about other subjects. So there's a huge resistance to just adopting one red pill truth. You got to kind of stack a bunch of red pill truths together until you have a completely alternate reality to live in. And even then, you got to keep going with it, because you're embedded in you is so many sheepish beliefs that were put on you and in you by the elites indirectly, through the education system, through the media system, entertainment, through music videos, and all sorts of things. The books, the books in school are, they have to pass some criteria. And I don't remember anything in school telling me about the pyramids. And I don't know why it didn't tell me how the pyramids were made. Maybe because they don't know how the pyramids were made, or maybe because they don't want you to think that they know how the pyramids were made. They have to tell me all of this. You bet, Ashikabi. They have to tell you all of it. But man, what happened? Is Atlantis just a fairy tale? Is that just a fantasy? See, they give you a reasonable story, a story that kind of makes sense, and you buy it because you didn't question it at 5 years old, and it just kept stacking on itself. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Like, at what point are you going to red pill yourself out of nowhere, living with your parents, going to school every day, and start questioning what history is telling you? If it wasn't for YouTube and the internet, we'd still be in this fucking confusion. And where was I going with all of this? I went wayward with that. Oh, the straight line of enlightenment, the IMC method, the certainty that this is, the certainty about the service, the certainty about me as a salesman, the certainty about the company's getting better, and then the pain of you not getting these understandings and these ways of communicating, and the pleasure of you getting them. That's difficult for people to assess. You got to kind of guide them through that. They don't even know. I mean, girls, guys, of course, but girls will give so much testimony about, it's amazing when they feel empowered and they finally handle some situation at work or some situation with a friend or a family member that's just been lingering and nagging. That happens with guys too. And it's usually in the situation where it's been going on for years and years and years, maybe their whole life if it's a family member, and they never knew how to stand up for themselves or how to put that boundary there. Look, there's a lot of systems of self-help. There's a lot of self-help psychology books out there. There's a lot of pop psychology out there. There's a lot of movements that you can get a part of. And, boxing is going to teach you something how to fight. Wrestling is going to teach you something how to fight. Krav Maga is going to teach you something how to fight. But what's the winning martial art? What is the winning system? And success will be our proof. When you get on board sooner, you benefit better. But a lot of people, they got to wait until they're really hurting. So the 18-year-old, it's hard to seduce her, but the 39-year-old, it's easier to seduce her. If you have the truth, because she's looking at a grim outlook ahead of her. And that's a hard pill to swallow, and that's maybe not the most sensitive way to say it, but shit, we can all look back at our life with error. I'm 36 and I got into IMC at 28. Man, what if I just found it earlier? What if I had found yoga earlier? What if I'd be so much further along? Damn it. Like, if once you find it, then you go on it. It's like the old spiritual saying. It doesn't matter how long you've been on the path, on the path. It matters that you're on it now. And with that, I'll end this episode of Enlightened Masculinity. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And I may change the schedule, but for now it's 9 a.m. on Wednesday. It'll probably be later on Wednesdays, but still Wednesdays. And in either case, in any case, you can see the recordings on all of the podcast apps. Leave a review, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to